All right, let's dive into something powerful, maybe even a little unsettling. We're going to talk about your unfulfilled potential. You know, that feeling that kind of haunts all of us? We're going to look at it through this really vivid metaphor.
Just let that sink in for a second. That idea right there, that's the heart of this whole thing, this final meeting between the person you actually are and the person you could have been. What would that conversation even be like for you? Kind of scary to think about, right?
So picture it, that last day, and you're not alone in the room. You look around and you're surrounded by, well, visitors. These are the ghosts of your unfulfilled potential. And these aren't just vague shapes. Oh no, these ghosts have names. Look, over there. That's the brilliant business idea you scribbled on a napkin, but were just too scared to actually launch. And next to it? That's the novel you plotted out. You know the one. The characters lived inside your head for years, but their story, it never, ever made it onto the page. And see that one in the corner? That's the life-changing journey you always dreamed about. The one you kept putting off, saving for that perfect time that, well, it never showed up. And then there's maybe the toughest one. The love you felt so deeply but never said out loud. The words just died right there because you were terrified of the answer. They're all there, in that room, and you can just feel it. They're disappointed. Okay, so let's pull back from this metaphor for a second. What are these ghosts really? I mean, what do they actually represent in our everyday lives? So here's the definition we're working with. A ghost, it's any great idea, any dream, any talent you had that you just didn't act on. It's all that potential you had inside you that you just let die on the vine. It's like an echo of a much bigger life you could have had. And that leads to the most important question of all, right? These amazing ideas and dreams, they didn't just vanish into thin air. Something stopped them. Something killed them. So, what was it? For most of us, it comes down to one thing. That paralyzing fear of failure. You know what I'm talking about. The fear of being judged, of losing money, of just looking like an idiot. And here's the thing. Our brains are literally wired for this. There's this concept called loss aversion. It basically means the pain of losing something feels way, way stronger than the joy of gaining the exact same thing. And that powerful little glitch in our brains, that's what kills our best ideas. So this brings us to the absolute core of it all. Every single day, and you might not even realize you're doing it, you're making a huge choice. And that choice is, you get to choose your pain. Think about it. On one side, you have the sharp but temporary sting of failure. It hurts, yeah, but it heals. But on the other side, you've got the dull, constant, lifelong ache of regret, the pain of never even trying. So the question is, which one are you going to pick? And really, this is the main takeaway. The real tragedy in life isn't failing. It's not about falling short. The real tragedy is getting to the end, standing in that room full of ghosts, and realizing you were too afraid to even step onto the field and play. Okay, so how do we fight this? How do we make sure that room on our last day is totally empty? Well, the answer isn't easy. It takes a complete shift in how you look at things. The prescription, the antidote, it's super simple. Just 2 words: fail big. And look, this isn't just some motivational poster slogan. It's a real, actionable philosophy. I love this story about Sarah Blakely, you know, the founder of Spanx. Apparently her dad used to ask her at the dinner table every week, "So, what did you fail at this week?" He wasn't hoping she'd fail. He was hoping she'd try. That's exactly what this is about. It's a process. First, you just embrace that big, scary idea. Then, you got to accept the risk, look it right in the eye. After that, you launch into action, right now, not someday. And finally, whatever happens, you welcome the outcome. Success, failure, doesn't matter. It's proof you went for it. And that is the ultimate mindset shift. Failure stops being this scary monster under the bed. It becomes a badge of honor. It's proof that you showed up, proof that you were brave, and proof that you actually lived instead of just existing. So, this brings it all right back to you, right here, right now. That final day we've been talking about, it hasn't happened. That room, it's still empty. All those ghosts we pictured, that business, that book, that trip, they're not actually ghosts yet, not even close. Right now, they're just ideas. They're vibrant, they're full of potential, and they're just waiting for you to bring them to life. You still hold the pen. You can write a totally different ending to this story. So, I'm going to leave you with a question. I want you to think about that one idea. You know, the one that's been whispering in the back of your mind. That dream you keep telling yourself you'll get to someday. Which one of those potential ghosts are you going to set free?
starting today.